when it comes to streaming performance, and we've talked about all just the amounts of data and numbers that are coming towards you, how do your teams balance the data between technical aspects like bitrate and latency and user-centric metrics like engagement and satisfaction? How do you balance those needs?
I really, really strongly believe that these go completely hand in hand, and I don't think it ever should be a balancing act because quality ultimately drives engagement. If you have a stable platform, a feature-rich platform, users are going to stay and they're going to keep watching. If you experience constant dropouts and rebuffering and just simply a poor experience, you are much, much more likely to go and do something else because it's going to be very frustrating. So we don't separate technical from engagement because they are one drives the other, and that's where we've put a lot of time and effort into looking at this data and then optimizing on a device by device level. We don't do a one size fits all. We will optimize for a given platform so that we can improve the metrics specifically on that platform. And that's how we've ended up where we are. And it's really through using that data and then using it to inform the decisions of what we build and what we work on to drive that experience.
I fully agree with Seb. I think the it has been historically and even today very challenging to actually link like the user engagement and say with this bitrate increase actually led to better user engagement, yes or no, because there are a lot of other variables in the mixture, things like what is the content and whether how popular is that content by itself. And there had been past like presentations from, I remember 5 years back or 6 years back, YouTube made a presentation that depending on the content, a lower quality content will get equal or similar engagement as well. So it can be difficult to correlate, but what is encouraging for me is that I see that the better and better metrics is becoming more like table stakes for the industry. So that way it is like it is not at some point in the past like HD or full HD was not the table stakes, and then it became table stakes for everyone to really do 1080p always. And now I think 4K and HDRB is becoming more stable stakes these days. So I think we are just pushing the boundaries up and up and like making the user experience better and better. By that definition itself, is like it defines the quality of the platform and the app in general, and which drives the overall engagement in the platform and how consumers consume the content.
I completely agree, and really just wanted to add that, I think between broadcast and streaming, from a user perspective, users generally have the same expectations in terms of quality. And I think that's completely fair enough. Why shouldn't they? But of course, to speak to some of what Subhrendu was talking about, streaming has far more variables and complexities. And, when you're working in a broadcast environment, you can make some very safe assumptions about the sort of environment that user is watching in and the conditions under which they're watching. Streaming, you have all sorts of different bandwidths, you have all sorts of different devices. And I think people take that for granted a lot. And as a service, we need to still provide that living room experience that you would get on broadcast on a 65-inch TV in someone's living room. But similarly, we also have to provide a great experience to someone that's watching on their phone on a train going through a tunnel, right? And that's where the real complexity comes in. And I think that's overlooked a lot. But I think that's where these metrics marrying together becomes really important, especially with the uptick in usage in streaming over broadcast.